So I've already kind of pulled the silk out here. So this is just to remind you, when you do order some, make sure it is reverse cutting. You know, this is going to be a 3/8 C needle. There's a couple of different options that you can get, but this 3/8 C needle is is you almost got to like learn what each one of those mean, because each one of them there's really no rhyme or reason that I found why each needle's named a certain thing. But this will work, you know, well for you. It's almost, I'm trying to remember, it's like a quarter circle needle, and so instead of being like it'll take 4 of them to make a full circle. But you'll want to get the reverse cutting, because if you don't, the needle will pull through. Whenever you're tying, the suture will pull through the tissue, especially if you're doing like a single interrupted, and that's the last thing you want to do is after you've spent the time tying and pulling everything together, is to have the tissue tear. Especially if you start getting into some real fancy ones, like a horizontal mattress, a cross mattress suture. You know, they can get very, very complicated. Or, you know, a continuous or suture, or a continuous locking suture. So, but one thing I did want to do is just kind of show you kind of the size of the suture. These are Castrovijo needle drivers. Pretty expensive to get. I may eventually try to find y'all a good option that is not so expensive, but some of these Castrovijos can be, you know, $200 plus just for this piece right here. Then you have your suture cutters basically, and some pickups if you need it. So if your assistant's helping you, they can actually help pull the tissue over. They can grab the tail and hold it for you once you pull the suture through. So they can hold the suture tail, so you can reach in and grab that and find it easier. And so, but anyways, I am just going to kind of show y'all some different sutures. So that is your silk, that is a braided. This is your chromic gut. It is the same needle as other, but the silk is actually a 3/0. This is a 4/0 chromic gut. They do have plain gut. I just don't ever use it because it is chromic gut's treated in a way so it lasts longer, but it still absorbs. Plain gut just doesn't last long enough for me. If you notice on the package of the silk, it is not basically any sort of alcohol or in here in it to keep it kind of sterile. It's just in a sterile package. But this is your chromic gut. A little bit bigger needle, so you'll open it up and then your needle will be right here. So depending on if you've got a straight, these are curved tips, so if they were straight, they would be more so straighter, but still look like this. So make sure. The other thing is, I kind of helped in a class. It was kind of an austere medicine class that I took, and the guy teaching was teaching suturing, and I did see some people that instead of grabbing their needle drivers, they grabbed their scissors and they cut their suture right behind the swag. The swag is where the round portion that the needle or the thread goes into. So make sure you have the right instrument for the job. So get some of that trash out of the way. You'll take and grab it and pull it out. Don't let it go like that. You'll want some that lock too. So if you heard that locks the handles together, so it actually holds your suture and you don't have to sit there and fight it the whole time. So You probably can't really tell on these just because they're different materials, whether one's bigger or not. So that's your chromic gut. Your PGA. So we're getting more expensive as we go on. So burnt probably $30 worth of sutures so far. I forget what the silk is, but I think it's about $8 to $9 a package. Whereas the chromic gut, you know, you're looking at 10-ish plus. So really not 30, you're talking about 20. This is going to be more so on the $15 to $20-ish range, especially with the type of needle it has. This is a little bit more delicate needle for like facial lacerations or things like that, especially with this 5.0. The bigger this number gets, the smaller the suture gets, and so the more expensive this gets. So like a 2.0 chromic is going to be cheaper than a 3.0 chromic. A 3.0 chromic is going to be cheaper than a 4.0 chromic. So again, reverse cutting. This is a 13 millimeter long. And that is something that I haven't touched on yet. The chromic is 19 millimeters long, so the suture tail is 19 millimeters long. The silk, wherever I did with that, there it is, 18 inches. Wait, no, that ain't right. 45 centimeters. Okay, sorry. So this PGA is actually the same length. It's 18 inches. The needle size is 13 millimeters. So getting a real fancy, you can see how small and delicate this suture is, but it's still very strong. So you can see the size comparison a little bit in the video. Let me just zoom in a little bit. Excuse me, I'm doing this all on my own here. So you can see the size difference from the chromic to the PGA here. You can see the size difference of the needle. So this is like your really delicate. This is what really your Castrovijos are designed for, is these real fine sutures. They're really not to be used on anything bigger than like a 4.0, because they would, if you get the real deal ones, it will tear them up, and you don't want that with how expensive they are. These are some cheaper ones that I've found, so I kind of use them for everything just because I like the way I can maneuver them. I can do more of a pencil grip. Once I'll show you Bare Independence kit, because I have that. I think that is a great kit for everybody. And I'll show you how to use those, because there's a particular way you have to use. I really recommend using them, and how I was taught to suture, and you have more control over placing your sutures and controlling your needle drivers. But these are great just because I can do a pencil grip with them, and that's typically what I do, is I do like a pencil grip versus, you know, grabbing some of the ones with the big rings on them, because you'll on the ringed ones, you'll put your ring finger and your thumb in the rings, and then you'll use these two fingers to control your drivers and drive that needle into the tissue. So that's your PGA. That's about a 3 to 4 week absorption time, and it is braided. Okay. Okay, these are really expensive. God, I forget how much they are. I don't even really use them that much anymore. Just I do keep them around just in case, but they are pricey, and like I said, they're easy to tie, they're easy to use, but the cost of them, there's so many other materials out there that you can use and get the same results with, and then you can throw in some absorbable on top of them versus not being able to absorb. So this material is PTFE. Let me get it on the, get it off that white towel so you can actually see it. 5.0 PTFE is the same stuff as plumber's tape, is what it is. And so somebody just figured out how beneficial this material is and basically turned it into a suture. It doesn't grow bacteria. You can see how small and delicate this needle is. Make sure I don't stick myself here because I'm watching the video and not my finger. So this needle is a P3, so this is actually a reverse cutting as well. They do make one, and I forget what the name of it is, but it's got a triangular tip, but the rest of it is round, and I think that's a C3. I can't remember. But you can see both of these needles are basically kind of the same size, but the P3 in diameter is actually smaller than the other. Let me look here so I can tell you. So where is that? Okay, the PGA, which is this purple-ish one, you can't really tell under the light. I'm gonna have to get a better video camera for some of this stuff. But anyways, the DSM 13 is just a little bit thicker than the P3. So you can place these PTFE, the white thread, closer because the needle is smaller, okay? So that is those 4 types of sutures, and now you can't even see the PTFE one. So anyways, next video, I'll just show you a basic interrupted suture. Typically I like to use a blue towel so I can actually kind of see the thread a little bit, which this actually might work out because I'll use the silk to show you the simple interrupted suture, and you can actually see it a little bit better because the silk is, you know, obviously black. So anyways, we'll be back